Welcome to the Celtic Exchange. My name's James. I'm covering for Tino, who's getting a well-deserved rest. I think he's just as exhausted as the rest of us after another crazy week in the world that is Celtic. So I'm here with Paddy and Brydo, and what we'll do today is wrap in a bit of a final whistle show from Kill yesterday, then three big topics, and then a whole bunch of listeners' questions. So try and squeeze in as many as we can of those. Paddy, I'll come to yourself first. What about yesterday? You were there. Talk us through it.
I was there. It was bedlam at the end. Absolutely brilliant. And I think just a real testament to just the patience, the play to the very, very final whistle from our management, from our especially our manager and Maloney. You've seen from the very get-go of the second half, they kicked every ball, they were part of every play for us. And I think these are the kind of games that hopefully wake some people up in that squad. I still think we're carrying a few players with the looks of it. The term, have you got the minerals, is floated about a little bit, especially for wee Stevie yesterday. But he was actually asking me that instead of whether the players have got it, because I'd said the league was done at 2-0. No, I think there's a few in that squad that they really need to wake up. And hopefully that was the big wake-up call, because albeit we've done it the last 3 games now, but that one yesterday, that was huge. We've said before, Celtic cannot afford to drop more points in this league. It could happen against the closest rivals. That's okay. In that sense, the games will come when they come, but not against the rest. We can't afford to do it. So to go 2-0 down, very, very difficult conditions yesterday as well, in terms of we were up against the time wasting of Kilmarnock. That's where your 7 minutes came from.
Comes out there, Dylan, at the end, aye.
Oh my God. Anyway, we deserved it. We deserved the win. Come the end of it, we pressed and we got our just reward.
Yeah, we did that. So plenty of plaudits have come Martin O'Neill's way, and so they should. Was it 10 wins from 11 and 1 draw? Phenomenal. But starting lineup, Brydo, what did you make of it? Were you happy with that? Any issues?
I think the main one for me was Hatate. I think a lot of people would be looking at it wondering why he got the nod. I'd imagine it's to do with the manager trying to keep him on side and keep his confidence from being absolutely obliterated. I don't know. It's the only explanation, really. That alongside Oxlade, Chamberlain probably not being up to speed to start. And he doesn't seem to fancy McCowan or Bernardo. So I suspect it was a bit of all of that. I think so when I seen him in the starting lineup, I've got a real issue when Hatate and Negren played together. I thought Hatate on the ball was actually okay. I thought he was looking for it. He was kind of busy. He was busier than Negren was anyway. But it's off the ball. It was so easy for the opposition to get towards our final third. Like without challenges or creative football, every single time Kilmarnock won possession back or we gave it away, it was like, and I think our players are making us like that when we're watching it, either in the stands or at home, and we become nervous. And the goals that we conceded, you can essentially epitomise that too, with rash decisions and panicking, and I think that's down to some players that we'll touch on, obviously, when we go on with it. But there's certain players for me that are causing us real problems, and I haven't yet seen any improvement to make me think they'll come good. And whether or not we get away with it, because that is what's happening a wee bit, to be fair. We are getting away with it, and there's only so many times that we can do that. To the outside world, we'll tell everybody we've got character and courage and bravery and endeavour to continue to the final whistle. But if we're looking at it, as the way we judge Celtic from past, present and future, it's simply not great. It's not good enough, let's be honest. But I suppose we've got to give and enjoy the moment, because if we didn't do that, the biggest crime wouldn't have been dropping 2 points against Kilmarnock. Right now, the biggest crime would have been that the two teams were competing for the title or playing each other. If we didn't take the full points and gain on one, if not both of them, then that would have been unforgivable, I think, and probably would have cost us everything. So Hatate would be the main one, mate, to be honest. And I suppose seeing Amadu or Adamu, what's his name again, Junior Adamu, I think I've seen him starting. I think probably most of us, well, he's been brought in. Let's see what you've got. the answer would be nothing. So, but prior to the game, I thought, right, okay. And I don't know what's happened to Mvuka, or I don't know if he was injured or not, or Arthur, or any of the new signings in that regard. To me, what is the point in bringing them in if they're not going to impact, not necessarily the starting 11, but certainly the squad of 16. So,
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, Paddy Brydo's picked out a few players there, but you would have to say as a collective, it was. I've got it marked down as a slow start, but essentially we took the first half off.
Oh, we
What,
weren't there. We weren't
yeah.
there, James.
What do you put that down to? Obviously, there's no more incentive required than, as Brydo's pointed out there, your rivals are playing, so you win and you gain on one or both. What do you put that slow start down to?
Pressure.
Feeling the pressure?
Yeah, I think there's too many that are taking too much on their shoulders, and I think you look at the subs that we made. Tenetke coming on, Yang coming off as well. For him again, we're also seeing the change with Hatate going off. You could have taken a few players off at the end of that first half. I actually thought it was a poor first half down our left hand side. I thought Tierney came into it the second half, but I thought when you look at the output from Maeda, the output from Tierney, the output from Hatate, Austin Trusty, mate, I honest to God, was woeful. There's a few. These are the games where I've said before, you can allow maybe one, maybe two to be off it. If there's more than two, it breeds quickly. And it's a team that's lacking leaders at the moment. And I just think you could see that throughout. Very interesting point. I don't know if you could actually see it in the TV yesterday. There was a bit of a miscommunication between Trusty and Hatate. I think they were both expecting the same each other to go for the same ball. And when the ball made its way out, a game when we put ourselves under a bit of pressure, the two of them turned around and had words with each other, screaming at each other.
Yeah,
and actually, listen, it's all good doing the pointing game, but it says to me that for those two centre halves, and we know how mediocre it's been, to be honest, with them playing, and we know that they're not the quickest in bringing the ball out. Every team still this season puts Celtic onto their left hand side because Liam Scales needs 2 or 3 touches before the head's up and he passes it to the left or passes it over to Trusty. But if you are then looking at the players in front of you, and I know you're saying he looked as if he was getting into positions, Brydo, for me, Hatate's hiding too much, and the same with Negrin as well. And actually, they're not shown for that forward ball. You've seen in Anil's first few games in charge in the first spell, Liam Scales was a lot more directive, a lot more through the lines instead of looking for the left back, looking for the easy ball across the defence because the option wasn't on. You have split seconds in this game, and it takes any team. We're not a difficult team to mark against, and it's still the effects of Rodgers with working with the quality that he had, that they're so set in their ways. People are talking about obviously whether or not Anil and Maloney can coach that out of them. When you're under pressure and you've not got the quality, you're not going to get rid of that. It's going to be there for the remainder of the season. They need confidence. So no, I think it's pressure. I think the pressure's on too many of them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's get to the goals, Brydo. So, I mean, talking through the first one, where have we come unstuck there?
Austin Trusty.
Yeah.
Austin Trusty against Rangers done the same thing. I've said it, I think, last season. He's very good when it's the backs to the wall, Atalanta type, throwing balls into the box, and he can use his frame and his size, and he wins his headers, and he doesn't have to think that much. But if you're a natural defender, you know what the danger is. Like, you know what it is. Now, he lost the runner for a start. I don't know what he was doing. He was in no man's land when he was pressing up higher up the pitch. He gets caught out with a very simple kind of wee 1-2. He's now behind his man. But he gets back and he looks like he's got it kind of calm and composed. And the only place that striker can score is coming on the inside and tucking it in that bottom corner. He can't do anything any other way. And where does Trusty show him? He allows him inside. It's unforgivable. And by the way, he done it later on in the game as well, like similar to Chermiti, and the boy gets a shot away and Schmeichel saved it with his feet. He just allows shots at the goal. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem. And 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 I For me, it was all on him. He plays a part in the second goal as well, but I have real issues with him. But it's also coming from not having to look at a general way, it's coming from us not having a foundation to build on. So Junior Adamu wasn't doing his job. Nothing was sticking. Hatate, I completely agree, Paddy. I think my levels of acceptance around Hatate have became so low. I was just wanting him to be involved in the game at all. But I completely agree. He was getting in positions that weren't hurting Kilmarnock. He was getting him maybe off the full back and whatever. Bizarrely, that was still more than the Gren done. But, but off the ball, Hatate, horrendous at pressing. It's a non-existent press. Negren, non-existent. Weak as was it Rogers called Trusty? Weak as piss. I mean, it's so easy to play through a Celtic midfield like that. And right now we're crying out for a Scott Brown type character in the middle of the park because we're not very good. Again, I've said before in previous situations of seasons, is that when you're not playing well, either individually or collectively, you've got to fight, you've got to pull, you've got to scrap, you've got to fight your way and get yourself out of the kind of dull moments, if you like. And our players, I don't know. Hatate looks, I said again a few weeks back, he looks like a player that resents playing for Celtic right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't look happy.
On the two you mentioned there, Brydo, the two you mentioned there.
I mentioned a lot of players. I mentioned a lot of players there.
Hatate and Negren, right?
Negren. I mean, the middle of the park, but
Just let's focus on the middle. So Hatate and Negren. Paddy, what kind of impact is that having in Callum McGregor's game?
It's massive. It's pulling him about, James. And again, I talk about this need for McGregor to try and start to dictate play. He's dropping very deep with the amount of touches that our two centre halves are having to take to bring the ball out. He's actually dropping deeper in between them, as almost to say, guys, give it to me. The moment's gone to the next play. But also, again, he's not got the pace he used to. He's not got the same engine he used to, McGregor. Therefore, is exposing him. It's making him look as if he's not having the same influence. And it's not fair on him. We need people. We've seen it for a little bit when Engels would drop in with him and was almost effectively being that runner for him. And again, I think yesterday goes to show you how important Engels is to that team in terms of supporting McGregor. I thought McGregor looked really exposed yesterday. In that first half, I thought he actually felt the support of Oxlade Chamberlain in the second and actually come back onto his game. McGregor's crucial to what we do. This isn't a slight in his performance. I just don't think we can be expecting him to be ran over, and it takes a team just to stick a man on him, and that's what like a lot of teams now, a lot of Scottish teams are very, very switched on to how we set up, and maybe that's what we need to look at in terms of tweaking a few things there, because as I say, 11th in the table, Kilmarnock, we're going to come up against much harder opponents in this run-in. No offence to Killie. I thought they done well yesterday. Brilliant, obviously, seeing McCann's reaction at the end, but that's the silver lining in that for him. No, I think we really need to think about how do we go and beat our Rangers, how do we go and beat our Hearts, because these are going to be the big test, lads. I think that's where the league's going to be won or lost.
Yeah. See on that, see for me, it's just like off the ball and on the ball. So they're obviously two very different parts, but essentially the same attitude's required. You need to be aggressive. You need to stand up to the challenge. You need to be able to do your job and win your battle. And collectively, we should beat most teams in the country because we've got better players. Should be. When you look at the centre forward not doing his job, that impacts the midfield. When you look at the two midfielders, as Paddy was saying, that then means that McGregor has to go in positions that perhaps he shouldn't be going. He should be more protected, in fact, to allow us to actually use him to dictate the pace. And that's not happening. We then look at our two centre halves. On the ball, Trusty, see with that left foot, it's as bad an imbalance I've seen in possession. If you're coaching against Celtic, what are you telling everybody? You're doing exactly what Hearts done at Celtic Park, essentially doing what Rangers. Did Rangers do it? But it was just let him have it. Because his angle of pass is playing away from the goal. And he's not good enough. And if they go on the other side, you're absolutely spot on, Paddy. Scales wants to take 3 and 4, 5 touches. Now, that's because maybe Hatate's in front of him, hiding. If it was Negren, even passes that do reach them, physically they're getting bullied. Right. Negren are so bad at it. It's just creating pressure on a defence and goalkeeper that just is probably I would call substandard. And in parts of games, not full games, parts of games.
It's only
I
got
have
one
to
arm.
say, exactly, and I would have to say as well, like on paper, we should be better. I question a lot of that this season. I actually think the quality of the team, and now maybe if we can get some players up to speed, we might just eke it in terms of the rest of the league. But I have to say that this is a fragile team. I think fragile mentally. I actually think in quality, I just don't know if we've got everything it takes. I think what you're hoping for is, again, just a little bit of consistency in terms of that's a wake-up call for a lot of them yesterday, and we get the win, right? Araujo, Tierney, they need to kick on, but we also have now a bit of support coming in for him in terms of obviously Sriracha being back in. Sriracha's still got to get up to speed as well. I thought he looked a bit slow in the overlap yesterday when we were talking about that during the game. But even on the right-hand side, you can feel comfortable in a sense that Donovan's not getting exposed as much as he has been to first team football, because I still don't think he's fully there yet, but I'm okay with him coming into the team. I'm absolutely fine with that. Our centre halves are scaring me, lads. I've said this for a long time. Midfield, you're hoping that the Ox is going to kick on and get fit, but he needs to get fit quickly because we're going to need him. And obviously the Engels situation is untimely. It's not fair that he's probably getting asked to do a lot more than expected. But this is the way this season has went when you look at the injuries we've had. So I think that's me only just rhymed off a few. I could go through the full team, lads, in terms of I think we're up against it. I do think it's going to be a tough slog, and it's hoping that everything aligns for this run-in, and hoping that the likes of Maeda, the likes of Tati buy in to what could be a crazy end to the season. But I'm telling you something, if you're Diaz and Maeda, you need to be kind of looking at your performances as well, especially if you want to call up to this World Cup.
100%. Yeah. Brydo, you're the expert on the defensive frailty, so I'll come back to you for the second goal we lost. Where did that all go wrong?
Well, we lose possession again, and it's on the same side. They just looked exposed all the time, and I'm with Paddy. They just, as soon as Kilmarnock got the ball in any reasonable position, it just looked as if Finlay Curtis was causing problems. Finlay Curtis, I think, won a aerial challenge or bullied Scales at some point in that box. He's half his size.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on, but the ball breaks and Scales, again, just the panic and the pressure. He scarfs his clearance straight back to the Kilmarnock striker, who then, he's got Austin Trusty. He has this crazy basketball stance or something that he does. I don't know what he's doing. He's not standing, he's so far away, he's not stopping the cross. He's not aggressive enough. He's terrified that he's not got quick enough feet. And the boy's able to dink a ball in our box onto the head of a Kilmarnock player who's not marked, and then lob our goalie. Well, our goalie's a yard off the line. I mean, it's just, when you're watching the game, you don't even know how to shout at. But for me, the two centre halves, again, I know it gets to stuff happened before that, but Scales has got to clear his lines at that moment. We're already a goal down, we're under pressure. He's meant to be somebody who plays every week, international footballer. He's got to be better than that. It's got to mean more when you defend. Wingers can miss the ball and miss a chance and, run the ball to play and they get it again and they go again. Defenders don't and goalkeepers don't get that chance. It's got to mean more when you're defending.
That's
and quite frankly, it's not good enough.
No. At that point, Paddy, 2 down. I know how the feeling was in my house. How was it in the stands?
Actually, a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. I think I've seen a few that were kind of just head down about it. As I said, at half time when it came, I said we need to try and get a goal back before half time. But I just wasn't seeing anyone taking the game with the scruff of the neck, to be honest, James. And I think a few of the fans were getting frustrated. Miff obviously was there yesterday as well. He was talking about it, that the fans were still kind of singing and trying to get a bit of a rejuvenation on the go. I wouldn't necessarily say that was happening around about the first half. I'd definitely seen that in the second half where the changes were made. But no, I think there was just frustration, and I think a lot of realisation that the quality, as I've mentioned, of this squad, it's just not there. It's not what we've come to know at Celtic, and again, it just reeks of poor squad management, reeks of poor recruitment, and the waste of money that we've had. But then I have to say, you're talking about coaching and player development. That obviously just leads us into the second half, because I think the arrival of Tenetke coming on was massive for how the game changed, in my opinion, as well as Oxlade, Chamberlain. So, end of the first half, you're kind of thinking, obviously the changes need to get made. We need to get out the traps pretty quickly in a second to try and save it. But there was a good few of us that were saying, I don't see us clawing this back. Stevie stuck a tenner on us for 3-2 at half time. So
good man.
He's I'm not giving him that. Honestly, he's walking about the bravado all day yesterday, like, God, check me out. I know he's listening to this one, so that's just a wee dig at him. But hey, he kept the faith.
He did. He did that, and that's what we've got to do. And we're going to do that for the next couple of months. So bring the changes at half time, and the good thing is we can put all that negativity aside.
Absolutely,
it's all heading in the right direction. Brydo, you've got the Ox, Tenetke, and Svanchara making the changes for Rio, Yang, and Junior. Any complaints to the changes, or is that what you're looking for?
No real complaints, because you could have taken more off. But I mean, three is probably plenty, and leave a couple of options for later on. But
I said the same. I said, like, at half time, they're like, what two are coming off? I said, take 5 of them.
Maybe should have put a bet on that, because they got better odds. Could have been earlier. But I think so. I mean, Negren gets away with it because he's numbers, and he showed again why he kept on. I mean, I think I'd put in the Patreon chat that I would have taken him off, but I guess that's why I'm not in the dugout. But, you know, I don't think anybody making judgment on most of the players, with the exception of a couple. But the biggest change really was having Tenetke able to get us up the park essentially on his own. He brings people close to him. He creates space for midfielders. It's no surprise that when he's came on against Dundee, he sets the goal up. He scores the one yesterday. He sets up. He plays the pass for Oxlade Chamberlain's against Livy. So he's bringing players close to them, and he's allowing other people to get goals as well. And I think his numbers aren't great, but he's still a young player, and he showed bottle. I mean, he was happy to go on both sides. He was going left, going right, going outside, going inside. And I think it's refreshing then for his teammates to then say, we can get at them this way. This is just keep feeding them the ball for a while. And ultimately, that's what happened. I thought Oxlade Chamberlain, with the exception of nearly costing us a goal, I think you could just see the difference. And, you know, I think he played a cut of passes just first time, missed out the two obvious passes which other players have been making, slowing us down a bit. Just bang, just lace it, get it out wide, and the difference that makes, people don't see it. Well, not everybody sees it. They just think it's a simple thing, but, you know, it's getting us up the park far quicker. And against teams like Kilmarnock on a pitch like that, that's what you've got to do. So, yeah, I think, and quite honestly now, I think it's quite clear, even just after that one starting performance, that Big Tam's got to be the number 9, and he gets taken off when he's tired. Yeah. Even although he's not been unbelievable, but he's impacting games when he's come on by setting them up or scoring the goal himself. So, yeah,
I think we need to find out what's going on with Iheanacho as well. Is it fitness, or is it form, or is it attitude? I don't know.
I listened to you guys the other day on the post match about Iheanacho, James. I think it's fitness. I think when I seen him come on, he shouldn't be in that state as a professional footballer. We're paying the guy's wages weekly, and I know he's been out injured, but you still keep yourself going. I thought he looked really heavy. I really did, and I think, you know, there has to be a sense of respect for what you're doing and what trade you're plying, and you're not going to get included in squads if you're coming up and showing up like that. You know, that's not what we're teaching any of the team to do, and I think there needs to be a bit more respect in that sense, especially when we have such a push on this season, especially when we've loaned out Johnny Kenny, who obviously for me still not good enough, but, you know, maybe probably fit enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. I think there just needs to be a bit more respect in that sense. I hope that that's the case, but there's not another reason, and I'm sounding like a fool here, but just get the finger out, big man, because he could be a great help to us for this running.
We
Oh, we do 100%. Talking about Cvinchara, listen, I do like him. I think that he can be a good focal point. Do you know what he needs to cut out? Grappling onto their players and going down. It's not going to work in
He's
Scotland.
not going to get it. Yeah.
It's not going to work here. He needs to get wise to that.
I think him and Oxlade Chamberlain are starting to understand the slight nuances in refereeing up here. You know what I mean? The one that Oxlade Chamberlain nearly cost a goal, Brydo, he gets clocked. He gets clocked on the way by, and he's thinking, I've got
Oh,
a
in the
foul.
face.
And he's
Yeah.
not in the face. Yeah. Right. So we'll only have to wait 10, 11 minutes or so in the second half, and we've got to go back through to Necky. Paddy, you were in the Chadwick behind that. What was talk us through the goal and give us the reaction?
So just, you could see that, I think, a couple of times, and this is the thing that Teneke does. Listen, like you say, Brydo, I think he's still a young player, and I think there's still, again, I talk about that weight on the shoulders. He doesn't seem to have it. I think he dusts himself down when he makes a mistake. There was one later on that he just boots right out the park with his weaker foot. I'm all right with that. We see a lot of wingers in modern day football doing the exact same. You want to see someone that's confident taking the player on, and that's what he done. He hit the Kilmarnock right back in 60s and 70s, didn't know where he was going. The minute he get that touch away, and he done it a couple of times where he should have released it a bit quicker. The minute he get the touch away, the minute he left his foot, we were all four days that were there yesterday were right behind it. What a strike, what a goal. And if he can start to kind of get into that, because that's a couple of times he's done that now, I think that could be a tool for him. I really do. He just needs to have the belief and release the shot quicker.
He's also got the option, if he does get closed down on that, if you get Sriracha or someone overlapping, because everyone's trying to pile in to cover that strike now, they know he's got it, you know. So,
and then he's created that space. You're spot on, Jim.
Exactly.
Great goal though, great finish. Everyone at that point in the stands was like, right,
I believe
they're there for the taking. But before you lead on to the second, do you know what annoyed the life out of me?
Go on.
Kasper Schmeichel tried to distribute the ball twice and messing it up twice right after it.
He got away with it in the first half, actually. So it wasn't his first attempt at it. I mean, that was something in his game that was, pretty much a positive, and it's starting to slip. Put you right back under. So I'll not dwell on that.
Positivity.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And it's that man, Johnny on the spot again. Brydo, what happened there?
Do you know something? It's a goal that our chances that we give away.
It's a Celtic in Europe first 5 minutes of the game.
It's just at first I thought, he'll be offside or something. It's one of them because he was like right on the goalkeeper's toes. But do you know something? There's got to, as much as we're looking at the positives of the game yesterday. Now there's got to be positives given to Negren for his numbers, and I think he does get them. If he can learn, like you said there about Cvinchara and all the rest of it, about understanding the game in Scotland, and that he can't just let somebody clatter through the back of him because he'll not always get the foul or whatever. If he adds that to his game, he could be a really, really tidy player for us.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just got to be more aggressive. But you're right, that goal, John on the spot, take it away. And it was actually really good feet because he touched it with his right, then his left really quickly, which is a confident finish, and obviously what that then meant, with plenty of time on the clock, although we used every bit of it, so it was. I was actually watching the game on my own, and my voice is still not quite right because I was going absolutely bananas. And I've got a wee 4-month-old baby, and my wife took him up the stairs and says, "Try not to shout during the game." And I thought, we'll get a couple of early goals and we'll be fine. I never slept yesterday, man. He's been hung over the day. It was just mad. But, when we got it in, it was such an important time to get that too, that we weren't chasing 2 goals. Because I think we all would have known that a draw would have been a disaster as well. So, took it well.
So we're there, we're 2 each. I thought after the second goal, our momentum dipped. I thought the referee did a bit of a hand in that, breaking stuff up, giving fouls about and fouls.
They slowed down as well.
They slowed it down, all that stuff. The trainer on 3 big times anyway. But these things add up, and you maybe get them back in injury time if you're running the game properly. But Paddy, that last, include the 7 minutes injury time, the last 20 minutes, what was that like in terms of tension? Take us for that right up to the goal.
Well, as I said, you could see that they were just trying to run it down, and I think that we were getting a lot of joy in the wings, but but it was the end product that was killing us a bit. And I think that there was a little bit of desperation kind of creeping in, and naturally so. With such an important game yesterday, especially with A2 playing later on in the afternoon, it was important that we go and get the 3 points, as Brydo said. But generally, you felt as if you were right up against it. Some decisions going against us were insane. And then, listen, small things, we play to the rules, right? But I can't believe the amount of times where if there was a head knock and the player was off the park, the referee was still waiting for them to come back on. Their players were being clever and walking off the park as well. Or on the flip side of that, if their players were going off injured, they were at the other side of the byline and they were walking off towards the dugouts. They should be going off at the closest exit.
Yeah.
The referee was allowing all of this to happen. Now, listen, he's made up for it with the 7 minutes, absolutely. But for McCann to come out and say where the 7 minutes came from, I hope you watch it back, and I hope you can manage to get the tears out your eyes when you realise actually the 7 minutes was just yesterday. There was real worry. There was worry in the stands. I think that we, as I say, we were getting those chances. I don't know how many times as a Celtic fan, when you get a corner, you celebrate it as if, come on, this is it. We're not doing anything with them. We're not doing anything with them. But it was coming to that point, and we get into injury time. Again, we were just hoping. Again, there was a little break at that 7 minutes when it ran to about 94, 95th minute, and I thought, nah, no chance. No. We're not going to get it. And then we got a final corner, I think the 96th minute, which led it to bringing it back to Fanchara. And I just absolutely.
A throw in. It was Sarachi.
No, but before leading up to the throw in, that was the final one. And when we messed that corner up, I was like, done.
That's it, done.
We're not getting it.
So Sarachi's got the throw in, and it's like we've seen it in the past where there's either a panic ball or a poor throw, or we end up horseshoeing it back the way. But he's patient. He waits until he can find an opening, and to be fair to Big TC, he's went and made that opening for him. Take us from there.
He's made that opening for him. Still so much to do. It's an absolutely brilliant finish from Araujo, and I think lifting it high, giving the keeper no chance, and the power he put behind it, and which is supposedly his weaker foot. It was magic, absolutely magic. In the stands, I was talking to my pal Dave before I come on. You seen it leave his boot, and by the time it hit the net, there was bodies on top of you. Just everyone went mental. I've got the bruises and the calves to show it for trying to save all my pals for falling about, and that's what it's all about. Those late minute winners, that as much as they're bad for the heart, they're absolutely brilliant at the moment. As I said, the scenes after, I watched every single player run in towards those fans, run in to celebrate with Araujo. That for me, these are the moments that need to click for this team going forward, and realise that, hey, we are still in very much the driving seat when you look at it. Win all our games, the league is ours, but we need to really start playing for each other. I still feel that's lost a little bit, and I think that cohesion needs to really ramp up now, and hopefully games like that yesterday brings that.
They take the bleed from it. It's such a strange kind of contradiction that the mentality in the first half is just abysmal, but it's only mentality that gets you last minute winners, injury time winners. So the mentality's clearly there. They've got it. It takes a lot to get it out,
But I think the 11 at the end of the game, and not taking away from some of the players that were taking off, but the 11 that ended it wanted it. They wanted it. Like, the drive and the determination to go and get it was there. And listen, a good second half for Celtic. I wouldn't say brilliant. No. I still wouldn't say brilliant. Like you say, I think it died off a little bit when we got the second goal, but I wouldn't say that was character. I wouldn't say that was that just shows that what this team's capable of, and this is what champions do. I don't think we fall under that. I think it was grit, and I think it was determination.
Well, that takes me on to the first big topic, now that we've given Rugby Park a good going over there. Brad, are you still with us there? You're a frozen man on the screen. No, he's not.
Gone. He's
me
gone.
And you, Paddy. Me and you. So, just on that, so we've had 8 late winners this season. Would you say, is that watching champions that refuse to be beaten, or is it papering over the cracks? Can you realistically keep living like that and expect it to not catch up with you?
It seems like we are still living like that, James, and I think for me, I don't think it's a sign of champions. I do believe that we've got a lot to go in this season, and I do believe we need to wake up. I think there needs to be a real assessment in who's up for this, who's up for the final push. I think when you look at the performances from the likes of Hatate, Nygren, Maeda, like, it can't be that the systems fail in their style of play, because it's not too different from what they've been used to playing before. I don't imagine O'Neill or Maloney or Fotheringham are saying change what you were up to and this is what I expect more of. I generally think it's the pressure. There is that element of don't want to get injured, World Cup year, my heart's not in the club as well. I understand that side of it too. I don't agree with it, but I understand that these guys wanted to go last summer and they've not been able to do that as well. So that's very difficult to manage for anyone in any walk of life, never mind playing football. So, no, I think it's about time we need to start getting ruthless. The big worry is, and I think a huge reason why Hatate was in yesterday, is that we are looking at the likes of McCowan and Bernardo and possibly thinking what impact can they have on this European team come Thursday as well, because I don't think Neil's gave up on it. I really
definitely
don't.
not.
So I think there's an element of, well, Hatate, maybe I get a bit of confidence from him if he goes and has a good performance. Like you say, still showing a bit of buy-in to him. People were saying he got the selection wrong yesterday. Actually, you expect everyone to still be given 100%, and we know what Hatate's capable of, but it just looks as if it's done. Just looks as if it's completely done.
I think if you're just going to be straight, I think he did get it wrong, but we'll stay with the midfield for the second topic, because I think it was only just in the pre-match chat O'Neill told us that Engels is out till end of March, which is, devastating. We were hoping it was something light and it would be 2 to 3 weeks. It's the full 6 weeks recuperation. Brydo, obvious question, does that bring Oxlade Chamberlain straight in his replacement? Is he fit enough to come in, or is he more of an impact? And if he does start, who partners him in the midfield three? And you've gone right through Nygren earlier on in the chat. Can it be McGregor, Nygren, Ox, or does it suggest a bigger tactical reshuffle? Is he going to go with two up top, maybe 4-4-2 or 3-5-2?
I don't think he'll change it that much, mate, to be honest. I think it'll be Nygren, Oxlade, Chamberlain with McGregor. I think they'll come to the point where maybe he'll think there was the fitness. There's two choices. You start somebody and then let me know when you're coming off or when they'll start to get tired, so you're going to max out everything you're going to get from them. Or, they've only got half an hour and you wait, you don't want to get him injured. He's obviously had injuries in the past. So, yeah, it would have been difficult for him to make the choice if there's more players available. I think the decision is almost getting taken out of his hands. I don't think we can keep doing what we've been doing. I think we've got to get guys like that in the team as early as possible. For me, I would be starting them and trying to get games won before we start making the changes. If not for the fan base's cardiovascular systems, to be honest, I think the club's got a duty of care to all of us. And they've started off, they've done it for my mental state when they got rid of Johnny Kenny, and fair play to them for doing that in January. But the rest of it, it's hard watching, man. It's so hard, it's so bad, it's so good at the same time. It's just like, what's going on? So I think it'll be the Ox will be in beside McGregor. I think that's two quality midfielders. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think if you then say, right, okay, you've got two players. As soon as he came on, actually, I don't know if you noticed that McGregor made a busting run forward and then side left. And it's like, I know he's okay. I don't need to worry about Nygren or Hatate not doing it. So I think there'll be a bit of that balance as well. So, and Nygren, if we get him closer to the goal, best in all fronts, in the sense where he's not going to lose it weekly, and he's also up supporting. I just think it's the second balls. Like, seeing games like that, we weren't. The cup final was an example of that. When they said Mirren, a different manager. Game against Rangers as well, different manager. But just not getting first to the second balls. Falkirk actually bossed us in that regard when we played them away from. Just reading the game, like, okay, the ball's going up to the striker a bit earlier than we would normally do it sometimes. You've got to gamble to get in behind their midfield and get in on goal. But I think it is fitness. I think it's fitness across the board. I think it's some players have probably been overused. I mean, I'm not a fan of saying that, to be honest, but modern day football, it maybe is a thing. But and tired minds and tired legs make tired passes and tired decisions. So, and that's maybe what we're seeing. So, yeah, I think refreshment is there. It's just got to use at the right time. And I would
Yeah.
start our strongest possible team and try and get that, and then get McGowan and Bernardo into games to just give people a break. But we need to get in that
Yeah.
position to do that.
But you're looking at Ox playing, 52 minutes yesterday? So it's not like he's far away from 60, and he wasn't blown at the end or anything. He was still looking fresh. So I don't think his fitness is as far away as we might have feared. And I think now you've got to look at starting. He's obviously not going to play against Stuttgart, so he's fresh to play against Hibs.
I think I would agree with that in terms of, like, I think he could probably go and play 60, 70 minutes, to be honest. I think it's the sharpness. And listen, I do think a few touches, he looked as if he was above anyone in the team against Livy when he came on, and glimpses of that yesterday, albeit it's a bit of a different surface. There was also glimpses where he was getting the ball caught under his feet. And again, I just think that'll come. I'm not worried about that guy at all. You can just see the difference in talent that he's got already. The thing is that if you're Luke McCowan or Paulo Bernardo, I mean, it's not a case of how many chances do you want with him. It's, I've got a part to play here, whether that's for the rest of March or whether that's to run in the rest of the season. They should be gunning against each other this week at training to get in this squad for Thursday, because Rio Hatate, is he going to play? He let us down in Bologna the last time, so I think that there's got to be a claim for the two, one of the two of them to come in and take that position. That obviously we can't have with Oxlade Chamberlain. So it's going to be an interesting week to see who gets that nod. I would be very surprised if it's Hatate. I really would.
Can it be? Absolutely can it be? So,
and as Mick McCarthy says, it can. It can.
I said it couldn't be yesterday, and shows what I know. All right, next thing we'll cover is so the board sneaked the results, interim financial results, out on a Friday night, which is always a power move. Some suggested that Celtic have essentially buried the retail figures in amongst the media figures. Either way, there's a drop of 24 million in the media and merchandising year-on-year numbers. What do you think, Paddy, that says to the Not Another Penny campaign? Is that genuinely hit the club financially, or has it been overstated?
I don't think it's the full loss, but I think it's played its part, absolutely. And I think that's got to be where the board have to kind of wake up. And obviously I know that there has been attempts at trying to resolve a few situations for the running of this season, but in the long term, this is where we need to get a bit more serious as a football club and make sure the right people are in doing the right jobs, and they have the full whack at it. You know, they're not looking over their shoulder or needing to get a line of approval while somebody's playing golf in Barbados. So I think that they need to look at it. It needs to be a wake up call. But also the other elements of that is that we've spoke about good signings that we've had over the years and been able to sell them on and make maximise on the profit of that. We have sniffed around the 3 to 6 million mark in a lot of those players and lucked out. I think, for example, when you look at the Matt O'Reilly deal, 1.5 million, getting the money we got for him, is good business, but also there's a lot of, I think for me, there's a lot of, like, I say luck on this, because I think you need the player to hit the ground running, and you need for them to really, really show their quality.
He's in a good team as well.
He's in a very good team. Exactly. Now, what they also need to realise is that, albeit they messed up in their negotiations of 11 million for Arne Engels, when we could have got him for a lot less, as it's been made clear. You then look at the figure that teams are coming in with, and yes, all right, they've said no, but I mentioned in the weekly show last week, if the model was right and everything was in place, then you let Arne Engels go with the right player coming in to replace him in that window. So that they've got to see that's got to be the way forward. Now, I'm not saying we spend 10, 11 million pounds on every single player, but we need to make sure that we're well within a market that we can compete against bigger teams. When we look at the likes of how Porto, Benfica, Ajax are operating, they're operating on a more clever basis. Ajax have pulled back a little bit just now. I think they're not producing what they normally do, so I think there's a little bit of a regroup there. But Celtic, to be taken as a serious club, need to act like a serious club in that position. So I think they'll look at that. They'll be thinking, who's the next big sale? Engels. It's going to be probably Engels in the summer. Who is it after that?
Balikwisha?
You know, they need to wake up, and they need to think that we've been churning out those players maybe every 18 months, 2 seasons. It's quite worrying that I don't know who that next one is. He's hoping for 20 million for Alex Oxlade Chamberlain.
See on that, Paddy, see what you said there about the business. I think I agree with you. I think there's a whole load of luck around some of those signings that have been made, and we've then made big money on. We're only a ball here away for signing Riley McGree, and he decided to go to Middlesbrough, and that's why we got Matt O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Players that we're signing, or the manager text messaging Sunday, or like we've brought in players for Japan or whatever. We've not really made crazy money on them, but the players we have done, the Jota one with the Saudi money, like there is an element of luck, and now we can't take all of it away from. But
no.
But it's not, to me, it's not good business. It's only good business if somebody then does that in any business, takes where they are, sells off at the right time, and then continues to build and progress and go forward. It's horrendous business if they keep either staying in the same spot, or even worse if there's a regression. And I've never seen a regression in a Celtic squad over 18 months ever, I don't think, in what I've seen since that Bayern. Well, it's not even 18 months, is it? Bayern Munich.
12 months and 2 days.
12 months.
2 days time.
Well, there you go. So 12 months to have where we were, and all right, it was a kind of shot. Nobody expected us to do anything. None of us did. But the fact we did compete over a couple of legs with a European giant, where would we be now? Jeez.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they get a lot of credit for it, and they shouldn't get as much credit for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, this is all pointing to the bigger picture stuff that fans are screaming for, and it's part of why we're protesting, and there's been boycotts and all sorts of things, because the structure's not there. So that has to come into that. Running tight on time, so I'm looking for some quick fire answers to some quick fire listeners' questions, if we can.
Fastest thing first, is it?
We'll go. No, I'll call upon you. We'll go you first, Paddy, from Mark. Hearts dropped 3 points at Ibrox yesterday. Where does that leave the 3 teams in the hunt for the title? And is it 4 teams are well in the mix?
By the way, listen, my lift home for the pub yesterday, actually, the taxi driver was a Motherwell fan on the way back from the Motherwell Tavern. Good conversation with him. He's proud as punch his team, and they've been excellent. Some of the football they've played this season, and I loved Welsh's comments, just the confidence that they've got flowing, that they feel that they should have got more out of the game against Rangers the other night. Good result for them yesterday against Aberdeen as well, albeit it's a struggling Aberdeen, but he did say, the driver, that the Aberdeen had their chances yesterday too. What a season they've had. It's been excellent. And you look at the 8 draws that they had in a row at the beginning of the season. If that wasn't the case, they're knocking thereabouts, and they're not out it yet completely. I look at the Rangers and Hearts yesterday, and listen, I wasn't too bothered how it went, to be honest. As I say, we need to look after ourselves. It's in our hands if we go and win all our games. And the thing is that we need to make sure that we're taking care of business when it comes to the teams that are out with that top 2 or top 4. If you want to bring Motherwell into the equation, we need to make sure that we're going into these games and not taking them lightly. And then when it comes to those games against Rangers, Hearts and Motherwell, we need to make sure that we're giving everything. And then some. These are going to be difficult games. I don't feel confident about Ibrox. I don't know if you guys are the same here. I think that, again, I look at the mentality. Some have it, some don't in this squad. So that's what makes me just feel like if it clicks, and like you say, Brydo, I totally agree. If we are going to go into these games and take an earlier lead, I think that calms a lot of that team down. And I think that's when the likes of Maloney and Martin O'Neill come into their strengths as well and says, this is how you run the rest of this game. but we just don't seem to want to be doing that now. We don't want to make it easy on ourselves. So no, I think it's only up to us. That's all I'm caring about, to be honest, James.
Good stuff, good answer. One from Obi-Wan, one for you, Brydo. Must stay, my Motherwell. We've all been impressed by Jens Bertolascu, but as a club, do you think our support could handle that bedding in period, Paddy? So the first 8 games of the season, Motherwell took 9 points from 24, Brydo. Can we handle that?
Well, no, because we've seen it under Wilfried Max. That's an easy, quick fire one. That was really like.
But did you see the point? So he's gone, even though everyone's given Bertolascu all these plaudits. Yeah. He's gone before he starts to get to where he is now.
Well, what I would say is that if Bertolascu and Motherwell are playing, I think they're playing the finest football in the country. Falkirk are probably closely behind them in how they approach the games and how well they've done. And they stick to it. He's obviously a coach that's managed to get that message across, even under, like you said, 8 draws at the start and took him a while to get going to get his wins. The players have stuck with him, and they've stuck with he's got guys like O'Donnell and McGinn and stuff playing it, and it's just so if he can work miracles, like that, then he's certainly not somebody that Celtic fans we should be turning our nose up against. I don't think. If that was to be the case, if he was to come in at Celtic, we would know what we're getting. He knows the league, but I think Celtic and the Celtic fans are probably. I think we're probably still aiming and wanting a bigger name than that. I think Martinez's name's getting bandied about again and all this. So,
would you take him?
Martinez?
No. Ask you.
Yeah, I would. I would. I've been mega impressed, and it's about time we actually stopped kind of turning our noses up to either players that are playing in Scotland and bringing in guys. We could have signed Mazwanisi, because where's Mvuka yesterday? He's nowhere to be seen. His first game took off at half time. Mazwanisi would be a player that excites us as a support group. Even the striker position, the players we could have brought in that's going to produce better than Julian Araujo. It's early for him too, of course. So I think there's a bit of all of us that we need to kind of take a step back and look at what they're doing in the league that we're trying to win. But I think he's done a great job, and I think he talks well, and he's not.
That's what I'm at, Brydo.
He's not scared to talk about like the Rangers decision and stuff. That they should have got a penalty and the red card was against him. He's not thinking, we Motherwell were good to get a point against big horrible Rangers. He's basically saying we've done enough to win the game, and by all accounts they did.
What about yourself, James?
Time wasting,
Aye. What about yourself? Would you take him?
It's obviously been impressed by his football, but I've never really had much chance to hear him talk about football, and he'll give you a bit of an insight to his philosophy until after that Rangers game, and he was hugely impressive. Just very calm. He just laid it out. It wasn't some emotional outburst that you might see from a manager of Kilmarnock or something silly like that. It was a well thought through point he was making. He said, you're not going to progress in Europe if you allow this kind of football to go on. We're just going to run over the top any time we get into the bigger tournaments. So would I take him over Martinez? It's a nice debate to have. If it was one of the two, could probably handle either. A lot of folks say Martinez had the golden generation of Belgian football at his fingertips and didn't do anything with them. So there is that. But he's worked closely with Maloney, and I'm impressed with what Maloney's doing. So I'm not opposed to Martinez, but I'm probably going to lean Brydo's way and say I would prefer something like Bertolascu, just the way he's approaching the game.
See on that, right? So and the Maloney thing, and coming in with a new into the mess twice, that's where I would give them credit for getting players back off the floor, and they're obviously getting them back winning games. But I'm not massively impressed by any tactics or anything at all with Celtic.
But listen,
is it more than that? Is it more than that we're talking? Maybe am I being
overcoming that? I think that this is a very, very fragile, mentally fragile squad. I really, really do. And I think we've just said keep it basic. 100%. And I think play to what your strengths are, play to what you know. And you can see even then that's still a challenge to some of them. But you're looking at obviously the longevity of the squad, how many have been there for quite a while. They have a system. They have a system under Ange. They had a system under Rodgers, which was bedded in. Like, you were probably having sleepless nights thinking about what you were going into the next day in terms of repeat the process. So to go and try and break all of that up, Nancy tried it and they just shut off. I think that they're trying to navigate it as cleverly as they can and also manage a squad which is, like we said, knackered and getting injured at any given opportunity and all. So, I'm not. I'd love to see if it was Maloney there with Martinez. With Martin O'Neill, I don't know if it will be, but I think O'Neill's probably scunnered with the running of this season, and fair play to him. I'd love to see that full pre-season with them, and also I wouldn't mind seeing if it was Askew as well. I think, am I right in saying, did he not come in halfway through pre-season because Wimmer just decided that was it, or did Wimmer leave at the end of the season? Aye, but
I don't think he was at the start of pre-season, but it wasn't maybe as bad as the middle, but it wasn't at the end of last season,
Yeah, what I would say, Brydo, because I think that's a good point in terms of what are we seeing from that leadership. Maloney will hopefully try and implement his style in a sense, but see Martin O'Neill, he's a man manager. He's an incredible man manager. You look at the likes of Sutton, Hartson, Alan Thompson all coming up. They all needed a cuddle and they got it, and they were absolutely brilliant for Celtic. I think there's just an element of that, but I tell you what, as we keep saying, we can't have those last minute winners all the time because, well, I can't. I'm getting greyer by the minute right, this season. But one of the things I do think you will see is that, like I said, the mentality they take for that result yesterday, it's getting to the serious end of the season. Those little changes might come in and we need to start being a bit more clever. And I think when you've got a player like Oxlade, Chamberlain coming into the centre of your midfield, that can allow Callum McGregor to do an awful lot more for us as well.
Yeah, that's it. Just we'll come back to Paddy in a wee minute, Brydo, but he skipped on part of that first question with Hearts dropping the 3 points. Where does it leave the three teams, if it is three teams, in the hunt for the title? Are Hearts on the slide? Are Rangers going to carry on from yesterday? Are we just going to keep scoring last minute winners?
I never skipped it. I'm not caring about them, James. I'm caring about Celtic, and that's it. Let them have their love in. Let them slide in off the roof with a match ball. Give them all of that. Crack on.
I'll take that one then. I'll take that one. I think seeing that result coming in, I've never wanted Rangers to win a game in my life, and I never will. I was the same as Paddy. I'd sit back and just see what this. Genuinely, just maybe a couple of injuries or something, and see how they like it, and watching the game, I think Rangers just about deserve to win it. But you're right, see the 3 points. I'll look at the fixtures further on now. There's about, when they say teams that have ran this course before, it's so important. And we've got the droves of them, and we've got a manager that's done it. None of the other two managers have done it anywhere near close. You start to see the cracks in McInnes after that game. He starts talking about, we've got a run of fixtures that are essentially good to us. What's that saying? That's a slippery slope, because you're meant to be the old one game at a time adage, right? He went and done that. Danny Rule made the mistake about that when he was talking in the Motherwell game, because he was talking about the game against Hearts at the weekend, and a lot of their fans after that were like, he never played any of the players to win the game at Motherwell, and we've got the big game on the Sunday. What it does for the league, in my opinion, I don't think we win at Ibrox. In fact, I'm certain we don't win. But see, if we avoid defeat, I think it makes us really strong favourites for it, because we've played them all away. The Hearts have got to come to Celtic Park. Rangers have got to come to Celtic Park. Bearing in mind, Rangers have got to go to Tynecastle, and Hibs will host Hearts at Easter Road in their derby, in the most nerve-wracking part of a season. And I know we'll have Motherwell away, which is tough. But it's if we avoid defeat at Ibrox, I think the other games that we've got Motherwell at home. If we're struggling to beat Motherwell at home, we don't deserve to win the league. That's just the thing. Or Aberdeen away. But what I keep seeing from either pundits or Rangers fans or Hearts fans, now Rangers, where if they lost that or drew it, they thought they were out of it. Now that they've won it, they've went from being completely out of it to being back to favourites to win it again. How do you go from one to the other? And Hearts are saying, we're still in it. And then Ewan Cameron, I watched a couple of his clips on.
On Brydo.
Oh, by the way, it's not through choice. It tends to pop up. I must be looking for folk to laugh at. But it's like, he's given that, Rangers are this and Hearts, and I think Rangers and Hearts and that. It's like the Celtic game in hand doesn't exist. I know we've not played it, but we will play it at some point, and I think we will beat Aberdeen. You know, and that's us levelling points with Hearts. You know, right, okay, we've got to go to Ibrox. That might get them a gap ahead of us, but I just think the fixtures, post-split in particular, if you wanted to play their game and look further ahead,
yeah.
well, we've got both of the teams that we're competing against in the league at home. If we don't beat them at home, then we can say
we don't deserve it anyway.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty relaxed about it. You know, my only concern is the head-to-heads that the Rangers strikers. I actually think the boy Chermiti's a better player than many suggested he was. He showed it a bit yesterday. Those types of strikers that they've got, the boy Nadiri, who wasn't great, but he's still a big physical player, and Chermiti, see against our two centre halves, we can forget that. Honestly, under pressure, we'd need to have a vastly, vastly improved level of quality in our overall play as a collective, but individually, it has to be 5, 10, 15 times better than what it's been.
Well, we've got a full 13 days to sort that out, so I'm sure that's plenty of time and you all have it sorted. Thanks to everyone for the questions. Franny McKeown, David, Chris 1888 and Stephen Stafford. Sorry we didn't get to you. We'll try and squeeze them in. We've got a pre-match with myself and Greg on Wednesday night. Maybe try and squeeze a couple of them in there. But Paddy, last word goes to yourself. Take us out.
Yeah, just obviously chuffed to get the 3 points yesterday, and I think massive for us in terms of this mentality. And you know, I go back to the comment made about a squad last season of being mentality monsters. A lot of the times after that kind of January lull or December running, we've really kicked on. We're still winning games. Unbelievably so, we're still winning games. Yeah, we're leaving it late, but we're still kicking on and we're still getting the results we need. Still competing in 3 fronts. Squad management's huge, but again, I think like results like yesterday hopefully gets the buy-in from a full squad. I think it needs it for this run-in. I think that's hugely important if we want to go and try and win this league.
Absolutely. That's a good way to finish it. Thanks everyone for watching and listening. We'll catch you on the pre-match show on Wednesday night, and then there'll be a post-match on Friday, which I'm hoping to drag Tino back in for. But for now, all the best.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.